Hi there.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing well.
I don't know if we're going to get anybody else joining us today.
Yeah, I've had this on my calendar for a while and wanted to attend and learn about what was going on with this SIG, but
yeah, so this particular session is one that was originally used by the Kubeflow team, and they seem to have moved elsewhere. Most of the MLOps work goes on in the Asia Pac SIG, which is earlier in the day. What was your particular interest?
yeah, general Kubeflow AI. I'm in the Kubernetes and OpenShift world to work for Red Hat and consulting. So been using our products, but was curious to see what's happening in the community around, yeah, and in general, and see where I can get involved. I did notice, yeah, a lot of EMA and other presence for these projects, so it makes sense. But I'm based in Chicago.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm responsible for the MLOps roadmap. So we've been recently starting the sort of 2021 update on that. I don't know if you've seen the roadmap document.
Yes, I have the public GitHub.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you know, I don't know if you have any views on that, or if that's something that's useful to you in any way.
Yeah, I think I last looked at it earlier in the year, late last year. Let me take a look at
Yeah, so
what's
there's been
changed. Yeah,
no major change this year yet. So we published, I think it was around September, October time. So it's probably not changed much since you last looked at it.
yeah. When I did look at it, I thought the scope and approach in terms of challenges I see was general challenges to MLOps and teams transitioning from thinking about CI/CD and traditional application sense, having to go through those considerations. It seemed like a really good place to focus the group. When I was looking at that.
Yeah, I think we're in an interesting time at the moment. Yeah, I spent a bit of time a couple of weeks ago at one of the MLOps conferences, and there's a very big divide between people's understanding of what MLOps actually involves, and I think there's a lot of education and training that needs to happen to really get people building sort of high quality production assets in the machine learning space.
Yeah, starting with, I've seen that too, and starting with that foundation of more so clean data and data science best practices, and making sure that you're starting there before even looking at these tool chains. I found that to be one thing that is still glossed over sometimes with teams I've worked with so far. But the tools are definitely newer, and our OpenShift's, I guess, OpenShift and Red Hat's Open Data Hub efforts are still relatively new, and seeing how teams are adopting that. A number of the smaller tools like the Jupyter Hub and data science as a service type approaches, we've seen quite a bit. But in terms of thinking about more so overall methodology, I do see this as early days. So I was excited to see that SIG and and see what was going on. But
yeah, so I mean, what we're trying to do with the roadmap is make it clearer that machine learning assets don't safely stand on their own. That what you're building is not a piece of machine learning equipment. You're building a product, and that product includes machine learning as a tool to deliver the capabilities of the product. And so if you're going to value that product as an asset, then you need to think about the appropriate asset management for the whole product rather than just your machine learning components. So that really means thinking about, the whole of DevOps, and you're treating your machine learning assets as another piece of software related technology that needs to be managed within that overarching DevOps approach. So what we're trying to do is get the tool vendors to stop building standalone machine learning stuff and start to integrate their tools into the rest of the software supply chain, so that if you're going to build a product, you can build it in one place with a consistent tool, rather than having to have two completely different life cycles for your software assets and your machine learning models.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense in where the space has gone and the vendor solutions that were out there previously.
What sort of problems do you encounter in this space?
I think a lot of it is folks coming to us straight up asking, how to do MLOps, which is obviously the big question, and expecting kind of a simple diagram like they've seen from application development, that they can adapt when more of that education and understanding of looking at both their assets and the pipeline for maintaining ML assets, and starting from there and understanding their goals is a lot of the conversations I've seen starting with. A little less on the Kubeflow and those adoption yet. So more of the earlier stage, and then how does do ML assets and exist and cooperate with existing tooling or other CI/CD systems, as well as the modern Argo pieces. So just thinking about how this fits in more on their business process, as well as with the tool chains that are out right now, for where we're at. So it's definitely still earlier, but that's often the first piece, is trying to get them to take a step back and look at what they're trying to solve, and then what assets they're capturing, and how to move them towards kind of just at both the education as well as understanding that this is an iterative, take an iterative approach to this, and find a way to be sensitive. But obviously, like, data security is a big topic that a lot of bigger orgs are doing more things we're seeing on premise, and that's one thing that I've seen less cloud adoption of the open tools yet, in terms of just from a security standpoint. So both data encryption at rest and data security, as well as the asset, longer term security for pieces like that, that are often the bigger taking points, as you've probably seen and would hear anywhere else. So
yeah, I think there's a lot of work to be done in that area to really get that up to an appropriate standard. I think one of the things that I found looking at this is that the big differentiator tends to be whether people think about machine learning as a database problem or as a more generic software asset problem. Because what tends to happen is for the people who think about it in a database centric way, what they want is a database server for ML models. And so they go for tooling that you install as a monolithic instance, and then you interact with that tool and you feed your models into it, and then that tool serves your models in the way that a database server serves you access to data sets. Which is a rational way of approaching it, but it's also a very sort of 1990s model of handling those types of assets. So it doesn't sit that comfortably in a cloud native environment where you want, elastic scalability and easily deployable atomic asset sets.
Yeah, that's definitely, I can definitely attest to that too. And seeing that approach, or seeing organizations just look for that vendor solution that, either is providing the models or providing a starter point for them, as jumping into this, being kind of overwhelmed with all the considerations of trying to construct kind of your own MLOps process within an organization. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've been doing is trying to integrate MLOps into Jenkins X. I don't know if you've come across Jenkins X.
I have, yeah. I haven't seen it really in a customer of ours yet, but definitely seen it in the community.
Yeah, so I mean, the idea really is that it's CI/CD for containerized environments, and it's built around the sort of GitOps principles where everything that you do is specified in a Git repository. So the state of your environments are all specified in Git. And if you want to change your deployment, you modify the Git file and the system will reconfigure your environment to suit your requirements. So it works well for conventional sort of build and deploy of software assets. And what we've been doing is building up a library of sort of common machine learning patterns as quick start templates within that environment. So, if you want to build, a model in PyTorch, you can pick from a number of different templates that solve slightly different problems in that space, and you can just fire up an example project and it will build you a training environment for your model and a microservice to wrap the trained model, and it will deploy those automatically into a staging environment. And so
that's very cool. Yeah.
you start with a working model, and then you just edit your way from that to where you want to be, incrementally updating your Git repo and having it deploy for you each time.
So is that under the hood in terms of Jenkins X? Is that implemented with Tecton or other features?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's all Tecton under the hood, but it basically removes the need for you to have to understand how the pipelines work. So you can use all of that technology without needing to have any of the sort of DevOps skills to understand Kubernetes.
Yeah, that seems really, really
So
powerful, since a lot of the teams we're seeing are, yeah, data science heavy and obviously not interacting with Kubernetes yet, unless they're coming from a more advanced app dev background. Uh, yeah, and I think I've heard the similar approaches for some of the Red Hat tooling that we're working on, but I'm in the consulting side, so I play with every product and work with whatever I can. So it's definitely interesting to hear how this problem's being approached. We'll have to check out that work. Is there a good repo to see some of that POC work, or is that out elsewhere?
so give me a week on that one. Jenkins X has just gone gold with version 3, which is quite a large update. And I'm just updating all of the MLOps stuff to be compatible with that. I'm in the middle of that at the moment. It should be done in about a week's time, and then that will be very, very simple to use. It's literally just a case of firing up a Jenkins X environment, which is all done with Terraform. So it's mostly just cloning a repo and running Terraform, and then there's a simple command line tool that you just ask for a machine learning quick start, and it gives you a drop down list of all the things you can choose from.
Awesome. Yeah,
And it
definitely
will build you
keep an eye on that and check
projects
that
that you
out.
need, and you can have them. But yeah, I'm hoping that that sort of approach will start to become a bit more mainstream over the next year or so. Certainly, it seems to be the way that Google are heading with their machine learning stuff. So you know, it's looking like it will become more of a de facto standard in the future.
Yeah, it does make sense. So in terms of just your thoughts on this SIG and the CD Foundation, are in terms of working sessions and what's been going on, do you see more of the vendor collaboration conversations happening now in this stage, and less of the individual contributors to projects? Or what type of community do you have now, and what does it look like going into this year, as obviously a lot of these tools are heading into closer to GA in that sense? But
So to give you the history, things started out a bit project centric, and we're now trying to open things up a bit and make it more friendly of an environment for anybody to get involved. Because the reality is that it's very, very early days for MLOps, and there is no comprehensive understanding of all of the challenges that sit in that space. So I'm really trying to encourage everybody to get involved and just contribute to the set of challenges that we're trying to capture in the roadmap, so that we're really painting a picture of, look, these are all the things that we really need to be able to solve, because this is what customers are doing in this space already, and these are the daily problems that they're facing. Because then the roadmap actually starts to be valuable, because it says, if you want to build a tooling or a product in this space, here's the full scope of all the problems that you're likely to encounter and need to consider in your solution. Or these are the challenges that customers are already facing, and there's a commercial opportunity out there for you to go and solve some of these problems. So really the roadmap is just a long shopping list of things that need to be worked on in order for us to get to a future where we can actually have practical artificial intelligence products in the marketplace that are going to be reliable and safe and trusted and will meet governance requirements.
Yeah, definitely. I think as kind of the pillars to look to, anyone who's worked in the space, I think would be happy with all what it's covered and would understand a lot of those problems. So, and is there idea to move into smaller SIGs or working groups for certain topics, or is that still in flux?
Well, right now we're very flexible. So if we need to put teams together to do specific things, then we can definitely look at doing that. As it stands, we're still early days for the roadmap, and we're still at that communication stage of trying to get people aware that it exists and you can use it, and there's a value to doing that, and then encouraging people to actually contribute back and start extending the document and getting involved in kicking off some projects to solve some of the technical challenges. But I mean, my task for this year is going to be doing the conference circuit, just communicating to everyone what some of these challenges are and how we can go about moving in a shared direction to solving them.
Also makes sense. Seems like I joined at the right time. I think I saw the this event last year when things were winding down and meetings were paused for a while. So I'm excited to get on. I got to hop to another call, but I hope to try to get involved in. I'm on the Slack community already, but try to make these calls
Great. Well,
as I
feel
can.
free
But
to fire me any questions on that.
I'll definitely check out
the Slack's
the
useful
Jenkins
because
X work too, and curious to.
Brilliant. All right. Well, it's good to talk to you. And,
yeah, appreciate it, Terry.
I'll hopefully see you next time.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the day.
Thanks for joining.